father, daughter, and lots of confusion in an action-packed episode. Hello and welcome to The Great Escape. The Sonepur cattle fair in Bihar has been known to attract some rather unusual customers. What attracted Koel Puri to it, we'll never know. But that's where she decided to take her father on a dream holiday, which turned out to be quite a bit of a nightmare. Let's hear more about it from the horse's mouth. Oh wait, rather from the elephant's mouth. Chances are you've never met anyone who doesn't like elephants. After all, elephants are large, cuddly creatures with cute noses called trunks, have a reputation for being easygoing, laid-back animals with an almost human-like sense of humor, and whose favorite pastime, it appears, is to simply fool around with each other. Chances are you've met a Westerner who believes that the old cliché about India being a land of snake charmers, fakirs who sleep on beds of nails, and elephants that function as automobiles still holds true. Put those ideas together and you get a Britisher called Mark Shand, who arrived in India, bought himself an elephant, and proceeded to wander around the country on it. To make matters worse, he wrote a book that turned out to be a bestseller, made him pots of money, and unfortunately inspired many an ordinary Indian man to at least dream of doing as Mr. Shand did, if not more.
Elephants have held my dad's fascination for quite a while now, and he's always wanted to do something adventurous with them. So I thought, here's my chance. I mean, all my life, he's taken me on holiday, and now I could take him. But I wanted to treat him to a totally different experience. Take him somewhere where he would never plan on going on himself. So I thought, I'm a travel reporter. I can do this pretty easily. So I make the arrangements, and I'm all set off to take off to the middle of Bihar. I'm pretty nervous about what he's going to think of the entire elephant trek and, going into a place that he's not going to be very comfortable in.
I had visions of it, of going on an elephant along the banks of the Ganga, camping at night and campfires. And it was like Lawrence of Arabia on elephant. It sounded great and it sounded idyllic. So I said, why not? Try something different. Of course, it didn't turn out any way which we had planned. First, we went to the district magistrate who was supposed to organize the elephants and said, we want to go along the banks of the Ganga. He said, forget it. Are you crazy? You're going to go along the banks of the Ganga? I don't go there during daytime. It's a security risk. They'll kidnap you, they'll kidnap the elephant, and I'll be chasing all over Bihar for you. So don't even go there. Forget it. All right, next question. Where are the elephants? He says, oh, the elephants will be passing through here, and I'll tell my guy to catch it at 2 in the morning and wake you up at 3 in the morning, and then you get on to the elephants. So he said, all right, let's wait for this. And then we waited and waited till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, no elephants. So we got up in the morning, we started chasing the elephants. Wow, now we've got it. We got the elephants. So we drove up to them, asked them, can you take your elephants to the Sonepur fair? They were amazingly cooperative. They said, yes, no problem. You can get onto it, and so forth and so forth. So finally we got one elephant.
Bite! Bite! Bite!
Maybe you should sit in the middle. I don't know.
And Koel put me and herself and the mahout on one elephant, and it was so uncomfortable. I don't think I could have gone more than 50 yards. I said, look, this is not my idea of Lawrence of Arabia on elephant. It was really uncomfortable. Then we got 2 elephants. She got on one, I got on the other one. Hers was, I remember the name of Lalu Prasad Yadav, which was quite funny. And once we got on the elephant, it was really fun because the whole perspective changes. You're walking through the same villages or the same road, but you're at tree level and you're going slowly. You notice everything, and people are noticing you, and you see how they react to you while you're on top of the elephant because it's something so unusual.
My Mahutis just told me that people are staring at me because women never ride on elephants in this part of the country. And so I'm considered like a wanton woman, you know, of lesser sensibilities. Oh well. I bet you never dreamed of doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a nightmare about it.
I also want to try. ऐसे मैं बैठ सकती हूँ?
Unless you're a certified nut, it is not advisable to follow in the footsteps of this father-daughter duo. But if you absolutely insist, then it might help to remember that the Sonepur fair is usually held in the second week of November. If you happen to be in the vicinity of Sonepur around this time, you stand a remarkably high chance of being trampled on by a herd of elephants. The entire area is swamped by these majestic beasts and their mahouts, some from as far afield as Assam, all striding purposefully towards the fair.
You see that? What's that? Ye kabutar khan hai? Huh? Say, Koel.
ऐसे
Best way to travel in Bihar. Lots of space, faster than a car, good suspension, and tree-level scenery.
I'm learning
That
how
may
to
well
ride
be
the
true.
elephant now.
You what?
I'm going to ride the elephant.
Ke
पहले
Lalu
तो आपने
Prasad
बोला था
Yadav.
लालू प्रसाद। हट हट नहीं हट नहीं क्या कहते हैं?
अगाध
अगट अगट
I'm sure a lot of people would like to ride Lalu Prasad Yadav the way you're riding him.
Infrastructurally poor and underexploited from a tourist point of view, towns and villages seem to merge into each other.
के लिए बेचोगी?
you know good
Steeped in tradition, the state has a rich cultural heritage, best exemplified by the numerous fairs and festivals celebrated throughout the year with great enthusiasm. The people are simple and, contrary to popular belief, go out of their way to help an
Stomach
outsider.
goes like this and goes like this. It goes like when he's sucking water in. He drinks 15, 20 buckets a day. That's all.
We're just about settling into our elephants. You know, the ride is beginning to become fun. I see my dad, he's quite relaxed. And the Mahuti is telling us little stories from the past. Everything's going pretty well. Your wish is my command. And we stop at this dhaba, we order our chai. And from nowhere, my elephant bumps into the camera person's elephant. He just falls.
It was just going too well. I didn't know what to do. It was like frustrating for one point. And second, it was like frightening that, you know, these elephants could start going a little frisky. And it was quite scary that moment.
Now, although Nalla, the camera person, did not appear to have any serious external injuries, it was obvious he was in a lot of pain. And so the shoot was suspended and the team rushed back to Patna to get him medical attention. As it turns out, he had broken his hip. What's more, the camera had been smashed. And so Koel found herself on the horns of a dilemma. Should she continue with the shoot or should she just pack up and go home? Well, the show must go on and obstacles must be overcome. And so new equipment and a new camera person, Gurvinder this time, were rushed into Patna to carry on from where Nalla had left off. But there was a snag. You see, the elephants hadn't waited. They'd marched off to the fair. And so Koel and her father, who by this time must have been wondering why he had ever let himself get talked into this crazy trip, set off again. This time in a more conventional way.
People travel on top of buses.
So me and my dad rented a jeep and we headed our own way. But frankly, I know that my dad missed being on an elephant, and I as well. I mean, the thrill of being on an elephant is totally different from then being stuck in a car. But we hoped that we would meet the elephant at least in the fair.
We would have traveled more on the elephants. We would have gone to the Sonepur Mela on elephants, which have been wonderful. What I'm enjoying about this whole thing is that I don't have to take care of anybody. I'm being taken care of. All the planning and what are we going to do and what are we going to see and where we're going to stay is not my problem. So that's really good. And the best of all, I have somebody to blame if things go wrong.
Shiva, 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 Shankara Adide, Shankara Adide.
Sonepur is located 25 kilometers north of Patna in the Saran district. This district, shaped like a triangle, is demarcated by three mighty rivers, the Ganga, Gandak and the Ghagra. Sonepur itself stands on the confluence of the Ganga and the Gandak. At Kartik Purnima, or the full moon night, scores of people who've made their way from villages from all over the country purify themselves by taking a dip in the holy waters of the river. Religious fervor seems to take over everything else, and the ritualistic bathing continues for 20-odd days of the fair, from dawn to dusk.
How do you know? We look. So we arrive at the fair, and amidst all this hullabaloo, all I'm thinking has my elephant made it here or not?
Hey, look, baby elephant. Let's go see that. It's got all prickly stubble on it.
It's rough.
It's like rough.
Watch his tail, huh? It's really strong.
Everything about it is strong.
But there are elephants lined up left, right, and center, and they all look alike.
And they were all decorated, parked in a row. Very impressive. They had tents, and the owners and the mahouts. There's a whole different hierarchy out there. The owner sits on a kind of a mat in the middle of his elephants, as if he's, surveying his wealth. It's, as I said, another world. And you might wonder, why do people buy and sell elephants? It's actually nothing but prestige. It's like buying your Mercedes or your BMW as far as the rural class is concerned. You have an elephant, you're a big daddy.
Like most fairs in India, the origin of the Sonepur fair too is deeply rooted in legend. Apparently, thousands of years ago, two kings who had offended powerful sages were transformed into an elephant and a crocodile respectively. One day, in the woods near the river, the elephant and the crocodile got into a fight which went on for many hundreds of years. Lord Vishnu eventually intervened in the battle and transformed them back into the kings they really were. A couple of hundred years ago, the Harihar temple was built to honor Vishnu for his role in bringing the legendary battle to an end. And once the temple was built, it was only a matter of time before the fair started up. Ironically, today the area is better known for the fair rather than the legend, the temple, or even Vishnu.
Where is he?
We couldn't find him, and suddenly our mahout turned up and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we're here, and we found our elephant." It was
चलो
really
वहाँ
good.
जाके elephant देखो.
This is Lalu Prasad. We went back and petted it and started talking to him about his elephant.
Hi. See, it's nice things. Joke.
I thought we were going to stay in camps, which sounded very good. The only problem was nobody knew how to pitch a tent. Koel didn't, neither did I. We had a booking in something which the Bihar tourism people had created called the Swiss chalets, if you please. And the Swiss chalets were actually something else. I don't think the Swiss would own up to it.
Don't tell Pa, but actually taking your dad on holiday can be quite stressful. I mean, I try and do my best. I book him into what are called the Swiss chalets in the Sonepur fair. And we end up here and it's a bunch of shacks. No kitchen, no restaurant, no sign of food. No problem, I'm fully organized. And I'm just going to pretend it was all part of the plan. You know, playing the good daughter, cooking for Pa and everything. Well, Pa, what do you want to eat?
Yeah, what are you going to make? What are you going to make? I want chicken a la Kiev, maybe sole meunière, a pasta, pomodoro, something like that.
Okay. I'm sure we can sum up something like Maggi noodles.
What?
Or you have a choice of canned soup and
More canned soup? No,
I thought we were
sausages.
staying in Swiss chalets. It's going to be luxurious. You know how to open a can?
Yeah.
Is that the extent of your cooking?
Jane, this is the only time you're going to get me cooking for you.
Thank God. It's the only time, once only. So Coyle, being a good Boy Scout, was prepared for everything. She actually made a meal for me on a campfire. Chicken sausages, macaroni.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little bit.
Of course, what saved the day was my bottle of red wine.
Is it because we're hungry? Is it because it's a full moon night? Or is it because I'm a bloody good chef?
Not the latter, for sure.
No, definitely.
Before we continue, a quick update on the story so far. Koel has decided to take her father on a holiday. So they set off on elephant back to reach the Sonepur cattle fair. But halfway there, they meet with a little accident. And so they finally reach the fair by car, meet with their elephant, and spend the rest of the night killing mosquitoes. We catch up with them the next morning.
We woke up at the crack of dawn because the mosquitoes were having a complete feast on us all night. Which is just as well, because had we woken up any later, we would have missed all the bathing of the elephants. And that was a sight which was amazing. You know, you're right there in the middle with this elephant, and you're taking care of this huge beast who can just throw you out of the water in 1 second flat. It's quite amazing.
Well, actually, I'd like to be an elephant. You know why? Because you have two people to bathe you every day. They clean you behind the ears, they scrub you hard. Actually, they had three because Coel got into the act. The elephant was so calm, she sat on him, she scrubbed him. I was just praying that the elephant doesn't get up, you know, because that would be the end of Coel or Great Escape or whatever.
Those elephants out there have trekked all the way from Assam to get to Sonepur fair.
Indians are an enterprising lot who seem to recognize the business possibilities of almost any gathering. Sonepur was originally just another temple fair. Today it has grown into the largest cattle fair in the world. Till fairly recently, it attracted traders from as far as Central Asia, and the buying and selling continued for almost a month. While cows, buffaloes, parrots, and even pedigreed dogs continue to be sold, the elephant market is the most impressive. Through the week, buyers wander around the market checking out the stock, as it were, before getting into the serious business of bargaining. Usually, it's possible to negotiate a deal, leaving everyone happy. The seller gets his money, and the proud buyer heads home with his new acquisition.
This mela is so big and crazy, I don't know where my dad is gone. I'm a big girl, I can look after myself now. Pa!
Wow, there. Oh, it's you.
We obviously didn't blend in with the crowd. I mean, firstly, we didn't look anything like the village folk. On top of that, we had a camera crew following us all over the place. So we attracted enough attention. But surprisingly, people were actually quite friendly and totally and completely harmless.
खलसा चलाते हैं हरिहर छत्र है
इनके बाल कितना लंबा है?
देखो 6 हाथ 6 हाथ ऐसे लंबा
So that meant we could just do whatever we wanted and had a great time. I mean, I tried to convince my dad to get onto a few rides with me, but he was having none of it. So I just left him and went on the rides myself.
Maut Ka Kuan, the death hole, was actually just quite incredible. Here was this rickety kind of a contraption out there, which was like a well with all kinds of broken pieces, wooden things out there which actually didn't match. And they were supposed to have two motorcycles running around like this and a Maruti going at the same time at top speed. I said, oh, this is not going to work. This is going to be a con. There's no other way, because it just looks too impossible. But when we got in there, they just did the most amazing thing. My heart was in my mouth.
By this time, we'd done absolutely everything there was to do in the fair. And to be honest, I think my dad was quite ready to go home.
I was ready to go home. I had enough of mosquitoes. I had enough about dust in my nostrils and all those strange smells.
कल परसों बिच जाएगा ना, और फिर आप ही चले जाओगे. हम भी जा रहे हैं. थोड़ा याद करने के लिए आप हाथी का बाल दोगे हमें?
It was an experience which I had never had before, and for me, that was terrific.
Thank you. This elephant hair is supposed to be...
Oh, there it is.
very lucky.
That's wonderful.
For our next
I had a
trip.
great holiday.